brief introduction to, where I come from. I'm from India, Bangalore, from South India. I was an investment management analyst. For 4 years, I worked for Thomson Reuters in India, in Bangalore. Something changed. This quest to know more about life, explore life. I wasn't looking for meditation. I wanted to do something on my own. I wanted to teach. So I quit my job and I started exploring different options of teaching. And then I realized after a few sessions that I had nothing to teach. I had nothing to give, because all my life I had been acquiring knowledge that was useful for work, but not useful for life. And I wanted to teach life. I wanted to talk about life, and there was nothing there. And then I dropped teaching, I dropped everything, and I went on this amazing journey for the next 4 years, seeking that understanding of life. I started with psychology. I finished my NLP. NLP is neuro-linguistic programming, which is psychology, but then it's not an accepted psychology here in America. It was developed by Richard Bandler, and 40 years. It's an amazing separate field altogether of trying to understand the nature of your mind and body. It was more useful for work. Trainers used it a lot because it helped you to understand, watch somebody and understand, their mindset and the way they are thinking. So that was amazing. After my NLP masters, I was teaching a little bit, but then I figured out that everything was external. My inner state of happiness, sense of relaxation, my understanding of the world had not changed at all. In a way, I was a little more smarter in recognizing people and their emotions, but I was close to myself. I didn't know what was happening inside. That's when, again, through the habit of reading, I picked up meditation, and I met a couple of amazing teachers in India, and then I decided meditation is what I want to try. I tried it for the first month, but then when I did my basic research, I figured out that most people try and give up on meditation, than continue it, for the rest of their lives. When I tried to understand why this happens, I figured out that most people don't take it intensely or seriously enough, because meditation requires a completely different approach. It is such a pure science, and it works at such a fundamental level that you will have to give it some time, and it requires a lot more dedication during the initial period than to pick up any other skill. Meditation is really a skill, and if you have not picked it up within the first few months of your practice, then you will never come back to meditation. And nobody can convince you to meditate because you have tried it and it has not worked for you. So I was, a little bit afraid of this because I really wanted this to work, and I said, okay, I'm going to go fully into it. And every day I used to meditate for about 8 hours. So my first month was, I would say close to 300, 350 hours of meditation. At the end of 1 month, I knew beyond any doubt that this is the path. This is the answer to all our questions, because meditation is not a philosophy. It's not even psychology. It's not an intervention. It is pure science of observing your own mind, observing the nature of reality without any other medium. That's all meditation is. You sit, close your eyes, and watch. You watch and watch and watch and observe to a point when the patterns of your mind, the patterns of your body, the patterns of reality around you, everything becomes clear. And the first thing I realized at the end of 1 month is, wow, our understanding of mind and body is completely skewed in one direction. We have a very good objective understanding of the mind and the body. For example, if I try to study that cup, I can study the shape of the cup, the structure of it, the contents of it, but still I would never know the cup itself. The cup has a purpose, it has an essence. It is something tremendously more than just the physical reality. I can analyze an individual, I can check his blood pressure, bones, muscles, everything, but I still cannot understand his life. What is he thinking? But that's when I realized all our objective analysis of life, dissection, analysis, has completely taken us in a totally different direction. In a direction that we think that we know what is the mind, what is the body, but in reality we have no clue how it functions. So we have good conceptual understanding of life. In fact, that conceptual understanding is so accurate in our mind, is most of the time we are confused as to why isn't that a solution to my life? Why isn't that conceptual understanding keeping me happy? Because it became very clear that when you observe what's happening within you and see the structures of how your mind functions, it is completely different from when you observe the same in another person. Because when you observe another person, you're only seeing the effect. You are never getting to the cause. In fact, our entire psychology, philosophy, religion, most of our analysis of the mind and the body is simply the analysis of the effects, not the cause at all. So we've been constantly trying to change one effect and another and trying to change the results of our mind and body, and that has never worked. And then, after that month, I decided that, okay, I want to pursue this for as far as I can go. And then I spent, let's say, the next 4 years, very intensely in meditation. Probably some of it might be a little too deep for the first session. So I can restrict myself to the discussion of the first few months. I would say my first 6 months of meditation, where I started understanding the nature of the mind, how it functions. See, there are two fundamental separate philosophies of the mind that people are familiar with. One is the so-called the Western understanding of the mind, where mind is a component of your physical reality. So mind is a part of your brain. And the entire collection of thoughts put together in your brain is what we call our mind. This understanding of the mind it comes from, of course, observation. You look at the brain, you study the brain, and you come up with the thought patterns, and you try and understand, what is it trying to say. But this is one aspect of the mind. There's another aspect, there is another philosophy of the mind, which is very ancient, which is a part of a lot of religions, a lot of spiritual quest. In this understanding, mind is not a product of physical reality. Rather, it's the other way around. Mind is the very source, is the very womb of existence. Everything happens in the mind, including the body. So mind does not come about as a product of a biological process. Mind simply is. The nature of the mind simply is. So there's a word, ancient Sanskrit word, it's called Brahman, which is the word that we use to describe the creator. When we say Brahman, we say he's the creator. He's the God, he's the creator. But if you break down that word, you will see Bra simply means vast, and Man is simply mind. In fact, that's where we get the words man and woman from. It's Man. Man is mind. In fact, the word mind itself comes from Man. See, in this understanding, the whole existence is a vast mind. And we use our bodies to tap into one part of the mind that we call our lives. And we structure our lives around that understanding. But mind itself is undivided. This is where these two understanding of the mind get separated completely. If you think that your mind is simply a component of your brain and it is stuck in your head and that is all there is, then meditation will seem idiotic. Conceptually, meditation would seem like pure madness. I mean, I'm a physical body. Just because I can sit quiet and close my eyes, how would it heal my mind? How would it transform me? I'm not even using my senses. I'm closing my eyes. I'm shutting myself off from the world and I'm just sitting and closing my eyes. And I cannot even see my brain. How would this transform me? See, this is the fundamental question that people ask. How does meditation work? With this understanding of the mind, meditation doesn't work. Because you start with this approach thinking that, okay, it's all here, right here, and you sit. After a few days, you realize that meditation is disturbing you more than relaxing you. Because first few months, meditation is a tremendous disturbance. It doesn't relax you. Because for the first time, it reveals the chaos that is your mind. More often than not, we ignore this chaotic aspect of our mind by busying ourselves in one thing or the other. In fact, we can only remain sane by being busy. That's exactly what he was trying to say, that I want to constantly be doing something, solving a problem or tackling a big challenge, because that is the very nature of the mind. Because a mind that is still is a meaningless concept. Now, if your mind is still, then where is it? The very nature of the mind is to race, it is to move, it is to hop from one thought to another to another. Since the very nature of the mind is that, trying to stop that process is like trying to kill the mind. And mind will not allow you to do it. So when you try to meditate for the first time, and you're trying to stop this thought process, or you're trying to enter a zone of no thought, that's, it's like you can easily lift the entire earth, in your fingers. That's much more easier compared to getting into a zone of no thought by just sitting and closing your eyes. Because everything is a thought, including your body is a thought. In the spiritual understanding of the mind, everything is an extension of the mind. Body is also an extension of the mind. In fact, body is a collective memory of the mind that is accessible. What is a hand if not for what it has done? It's a memory of what it has been doing. Legs are the memory of walking. Our entire body has a physical dimension to it because of the regular functioning of the mind, and it has stored all its memory in the body. So when we try to understand mind, we cannot start from any conceptual understanding. Okay, mind is a part of the brain or this or that. You will have to approach understanding mind without any preconceived notions. You just have to sit, meditate, and try and see where is your mind. Not even what it is, where is it? Is it in the heart? Is it in the head? Is it in my fingers? Where is my mind? So that's where the first question comes. If you're able to locate, this is where my mind is. It's not isolated in one place. Everything is my mind. You will see that your mind extends to the outer reality. That's where the whole problem is. Your mind is not restricted where you're sitting. Your mind is like a web. Everything that happens, even somewhere outside, influences you because everything is a part of your mind. See, we're not separate islands. If we were separate islands, then this problem would not have arisen. We could have simply figured out a way of life and we could have happily existed without any problem. The difficulty is, since everything is connected, unless the whole landscape of reality that is around us becomes clear, what is happening within doesn't become clear.